The first time it happened was in front of everyone. My wife laughed. Not a small laugh. Not the kind you share privately. A loud one. The kind that makes a whole room turn and look. And then she said something that made my chest feel hollow. "Come on," she said, shaking her head. "You know he worries too much. Mark thinks every little thing is a crisis." People around the dinner table chuckled. Some politely. Some awkwardly. I sat there holding my fork, wondering when I had become the punchline of my own marriage. The restaurant was beautiful. Tall glass windows. Soft amber lights. The kind of place where everything looks expensive. Even the water glasses. Emma loved places like this. She sat across from me in a navy dress. Perfect hair, confident smile. She talked easily with our friends. Charming. Effortless. And me. I sat there in a simple gray shirt, feeling strangely out of place beside my own wife. Not because I didn't belong there, but because she had slowly started making me feel like I didn't. It hadn't always been like that. For the first 5 years of our marriage, we were a team. Emma was ambitious. Driven. She worked in marketing and climbed quickly in her company. I supported her through every promotion. Late nights. Stress. Deadlines. I handled things at home so she could focus on work. At first she appreciated that. But somewhere along the way, appreciation turned into something else. Dismissal. Then subtle disrespect. And eventually, distance. The guest room thing started about 6 months ago. At first she said it was temporary. "I just need better sleep," she told me one night while grabbing a pillow. "You snore sometimes." I laughed. "Since when?" She shrugged. "Since always." It felt strange but not alarming. People sleep separately sometimes. At least, that's what I told myself. But soon it became routine. Every night around 10:30, Emma gathered her phone, charger, and blanket. Then she walked quietly down the hallway. The guest room door closed. Click. And suddenly the house felt bigger. Too big. Too quiet. One evening I asked her about it. I was cooking dinner. She was scrolling on her phone. "Are you planning to come back to our room anytime soon?" I asked. She sighed. "Mark, it's just easier this way." "Easier how?" "I sleep better." I paused. "And what about us?" She finally looked at me. Not angry. Just impatient. "Why do you always make things dramatic?" That word again. Dramatic. It started appearing more and more in our conversations. Like my concerns were inconveniences. Things got worse at social gatherings. Emma started teasing me. At first it sounded playful. But the tone was different. Sharper. "Mark still prints directions when we travel," she joked once. Another time she laughed and said, "He triple checks every bill like he's auditing the Pentagon." Everyone laughed. And I smiled too. Because sometimes smiling is easier than explaining why something hurts. But the strange part was this. When we were alone she wasn't cruel. She was simply distant. Polite. Like a coworker you respect but don't truly connect with. Our conversations became short. Practical. Surface level. The warmth between us was fading. And neither of us seemed able to stop it. Then one night something unusual happened. We were at a small neighborhood gathering. Just 10 people. Wine. Music. Casual conversation. Emma stood in the center of the room telling a story. Everyone was listening. She loved that. I was standing near the kitchen counter when someone approached me. Her name was Laura. We had only met twice before. But she studied me for a moment and said quietly, "Can I ask you something?" "Sure." She lowered her voice. "Is everything okay between you and Emma?" I blinked. "Why do you ask?" Laura hesitated. Then said gently, "She talks about you, in ways that don't sound very kind." I forced a small smile. People exaggerate sometimes. But Laura didn't smile. "No," she said softly. "This feels different." That conversation stayed in my mind the entire drive home. Emma sat beside me scrolling through messages, laughing occasionally at something on her screen. "You were quiet tonight," she said. I was listening. "To what?" "To everything." She didn't respond. 2 weeks later things shifted. It was a Thursday morning. Emma was in the shower. Her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. Normally I ignore things like that. Privacy matters. Trust matters. But something about the screen caught my eye. A message preview. Not a name. Just initials. DS. And the words. "Same time tonight?" My stomach tightened. I stood there staring at the phone. Breathing slowly. Thinking. The screen went dark. And I walked away. I didn't confront her. I didn't accuse. Because jumping to conclusions is easy. Understanding the truth takes patience. Over the next few weeks I started noticing patterns. Emma stayed late at work more often. Her phone was always face down. and the guest room door stayed closed. Every night. Then someone unexpected entered the story. His name was Daniel. He worked in the finance department at Emma's company. Quiet guy. Observant. One evening he called me. "Hey Mark," he said carefully. "Sorry to bother you." "No problem." There was a pause. Then he said something that slowed my heartbeat. "I think you deserve to know something." We met at a small coffee shop. Daniel looked nervous. Like someone stepping into a situation they wished they could avoid. "I don't want to cause problems," he said. "But I've seen some things." "What kind of things?" He took a breath. "Emma, and our regional director. David." The initials suddenly made sense. DS. David Sanders. Daniel continued. "They spent a lot of time together after work." I stayed calm. "Work projects?" He shook his head slowly. "No." For the next month I didn't react. I watched. I listened. I prepared. The reveal happened at Emma's company gala. A big annual event. Over 200 employees. Families. Speeches. Awards. Emma had been excited about it for weeks. "You should come," she told me. "It'll be fun." I agreed. Because by then I understood everything. The ballroom was stunning. Crystal chandeliers. White tablecloths. Soft piano music. Emma looked radiant. Confident. Laughing with coworkers. Including David Sanders. Tall. Polished. Charismatic. The kind of man who easily becomes the center of attention. Halfway through the evening something interesting happened. David took the stage. He began announcing a new leadership program. A program about integrity. And transparency. The irony was almost poetic. While he spoke I quietly approached the event coordinator. I handed her a flash drive. "Please play this after Mr. Sanders finishes," I said. She looked confused. But nodded. David ended his speech to applause. Then the projector behind him lit up. The room grew quiet. At first people thought it was part of the program. But then the video started. Hotel lobby cameras. Date stamps. Emma and David walking in together. Late evenings. Multiple times. Then screenshots of messages. Clear enough to remove doubt. But respectful enough to avoid cruelty. The room fell silent. Completely silent. Emma's face went pale. David stepped back from the podium. Someone turned off the projector. But the truth had already filled the room. I walked slowly toward the stage. Not angry. Not shaking. Just calm. I took the microphone. I didn't come here to embarrass anyone. I looked at Emma. Then at David. I came here because respect matters. The room listened carefully. I believed in my marriage. I supported it with patience. I paused. But patience should never be mistaken for weakness. No one moved. No one spoke. Then I said the final thing. 6 months ago my wife moved into the guest room. Soft murmurs spread through the crowd. I didn't know why. I looked at Emma one last time. Now I do. I placed a folder on the podium. Inside were signed divorce papers. Already prepared. "I wish you both honesty in whatever future you choose," I said calmly. "And I wish myself something even more important." A small pause. Peace. Then I stepped off the stage. And walked out of the ballroom. Not fast. Not dramatic. Just steady. 3 months have passed since that night. Life is quieter now. But in a good way. The house feels lighter. Sometimes people ask if I regret the way things ended. I don't. Because dignity matters more than revenge. And truth always finds its moment. Looking back, the guest room wasn't the real problem. It was the symptom. Distance begins long before doors close. It begins when respect fades. When honesty disappears. When someone decides your loyalty is something they can quietly take for granted. But here's the real lesson. You don't need anger to reclaim your worth. You only need clarity, patience, and the courage to walk away with your head high. If this story resonated with you, let me know where you're watching from. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.